Seeking out joy, being happy, staying optimistic and positive can feel like a full time job. And it can feel like a full time job for a reason, because it kind of is. Let's talk about it. A lot of the times, people find themselves almost stuck in a matrix, repeating the same loops and, stuck in patterns that don't serve them, they don't make them happy. And yet, here we are. And why is that the case? Why is it so hard to change those patterns? I'd like to talk about these things from the perspective of neuroscience because I think it's going to make it a little bit easier to understand how we are wired to work and ultimately how we can make it easier for ourselves to stay consistent in our self development and healing journey and how to be happier, basically. Now, the reason we are stuck in the patterns that we are stuck in is because they feel familiar. Now, a lot of the times these things are actually unconscious. In order to make things conscious, we have to shine light on them, we have to understand them. Familiarity is the same thing as safety for our brains, which is a good and a bad thing because our brains are actually wired for safety and not for happiness. And the good news about that is that our brains are focusing on the threats and problems in order to keep us alive, which is a good thing, obviously, right? However, it is also really difficult because it is much harder for us to be happy because that means we have to put a lot of conscious effort into this. It's not really something that comes naturally to us because that's not what our brains are wired to do. The easiest thing in the world is to keep rolling down. If you do not do anything, you will keep rolling down because it's the path of least resistance. So if you are not taking any active steps, if you're not being proactive in your daily life, that means that you are not even staying neutral. You are, well, yeah, you're rolling down, really. Staying positive and optimistic feels like a hard job because it is a hard job. And not everyone can do that because it requires lots of conscious effort. It also requires resilience and, importantly, the ability to challenge your negative thoughts. You know how when people talk about meditations, they sometimes you might have heard people say that you should kind of empty your mind and free yourself from any thoughts. That's actually not the case. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to notice your thoughts and kind of watch them pass. You're not supposed to engage with them, you're not supposed to identify with them. So the problem that happens a lot of the times is that we identify with our own thoughts, we believe them. Your thoughts do not define you, and you should not be identifying with them because we all have negative thoughts. A lot of the times they do come from negative beliefs that we have, from unconscious limiting beliefs that have been installed in us in our childhoods, obviously. Not all is lost for sure because we can definitely, change them. That's why I said challenge negative thoughts. It is a skill, it's something that you can learn. In order to make those changes in your life, you have to make unconscious conscious. And that means you have to shine the light on those, dark corners of your soul, and to understand yourself a little bit better. You have to kind of dive deep into your childhood and your early memories, and you have to understand the way your family was talking to you and kind of analyze your relationships as well. You have to understand your patterns. You have to get really honest with yourself and not sugarcoat anything because you want to understand your patterns in order to change them. I would recommend you write it down. Write down the limiting beliefs that you have and write down the patterns that you have noticed after you analyze your personal relationships, your relationship with money, any kind of relationships, and also the beliefs you have about yourself and limitations that you have set for yourself unconsciously, obviously. Next to those limiting beliefs and patterns that you have written down, you're going to write affirmations that are going to be the opposite of what you wrote down. If those patterns are negative, of course, we are talking about the negative things that we want to change, obviously. So if there is something that is making your life harder and you understand that you have been operating according to a certain system of beliefs and you want to challenge that system of beliefs, you have to understand what that system is, and you want to write down the opposite of that and start following a new plan consciously. So, in the future, when you have negative thoughts, you can challenge them by actively switching to the opposite thought, but also by understanding that you are not the thoughts. You are not your thoughts, and you do not need to identify with them. You can just let them pass. It's completely safe to have negative thoughts because they do not define you and they do not really mean anything at all. And another important thing is you have to have a really good self care routine and make really good small habits a part of it. Now, it is a really good thing to focus on small habits that make a big difference in the long run rather than in the short run. You will not see the results immediately, and it is a good thing to practice delayed gratification because they're actively forming new neurological pathways, and they are making you actively happier and contributing to your self development and healing journey significantly more than those things that work immediately. Nothing that gives you quick results is going to last a long time. Unfortunately, even if you get to a place where you feel good about yourself and you're happy with your life, it's not something that you can, fix once and for all. All of these things, all of these, positive good things need maintenance consistently. However, it is significantly easier to help yourself once you understand how it works in your brain. Once you understand that you're wired naturally to hyper focus on problems and issues rather than on, positive and happy things, it is definitely much easier to rewrite those patterns because you understand them now. If you can understand something, you can change it. I really hope that this video is helping you understand that you are doing a really significant job if you are taking active steps in your life. Keep healing yourself. If you feel like you're not doing enough and if you feel like you're not as happy as you would like to be, I just want you to understand that if you are taking active steps to improve your life and to make yourself feel better, you are already doing so incredibly much and it's actually working. Because like I said before, the easiest thing in the world is to keep rolling down. You should be so proud of yourself if you have a good self-care routine, if you're doing anything at all, if you're just watching this video, because that means that you are challenging the old patterns. Honestly, if you can challenge your negative thoughts, you can do anything at all. And I really hope you feel a little bit more optimistic after watching this video. So thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Please let your thoughts down below. And if you have any suggestions or if you have any, tips as well, you can leave them in the comments also. I will leave the link to my Instagram down below as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.